Good morning, everyone. We are all fortunate to be witnessing technological disruptions in this technological evolution phase, starting from rule-based AI, machine learning, deep learning, and right now, Gen AI. What we are accelerated in the last 5 years is way more than what we did in the previous 50 years. And just in the morning, I think many of you realized that ChatGPT 5.0 is out, right? So change is happening at a really fast rate. But yet, one single question. Can we have the slides, please? Sorry. Oh, I need a clicker. Sorry about that. Okay. Thank you. So one single question yet remains, right? How do we keep pace with this acceleration? How do we lead, build, and be ahead in this race? In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about some experiences and insights and share with you what it takes to be in this journey. I would start with this quote, right? The more I study about history, the more I realize how little mankind has changed. There are no new scripts, just different actors. What this quote actually reminds us is that there might be many technological changes that have been happening, but you have the same script. You have the same set of similarities in leadership that will let you navigate through this. And that is what we call as clear strategy, innovation, and having the right team. In around World War time, for instance, Alan Turing came up with the machine and cracked the Enigma code. It was a really rapidly changing environment. It was a high-pressure environment, but he had this ability to understand that having the right strategy of building a machine. I'm sure all of you are aware of the Turing test, right? The ability to know that a machine can perform almost same as what the human does. And came up with this strategy to build a machine, constantly innovating and making sure that he had a right team that was set up in Bexley Park. The same philosophies, those three pillars, is what is going to navigate you. And from the next 10 minutes, I'm going to talk about some of these examples and how different leaders in the industry have been working with these three pillars. If you need to really get leadership, right, you cannot just dabble in AI. You need a clear strategy. Dabbling in AI will only make sure that you are doing bad implementations, you are having resource constraints, you are having situations where you are not compliant. There are two use cases that I want to talk about today. One is NetApp, and the other is NVIDIA. The one thing that's common with these two organizations is that they had a clear strategy. Let's talk about NVIDIA. How many of you are from NVIDIA here? Fantastic. We have one person from NVIDIA. I think they are the leaders because they realize that they need to provide a platform for their developers so that they can leverage parallel processing of their GPUs. Their CUDA software and with the toolkit, gave the developers an easy way to integrate and to leverage parallel processing for compute-intensive work. Not only that, they went ahead, they had a clear strategy of integrating software along with hardware and to partner with third-party storage, like NetApp. And the second success story that you see is with NetApp, right? That's the company I come from. We had a very clear strategy. We had three parts to it. One, we wanted to be the intelligent data infrastructure for the AI. And what it meant is that with our most secure storage, we become the fundamental storage that brings compute close to it. And our goal was to bring AI to storage. And we did that in multiple ways. We had our disaggregated architecture, which primarily was having compute beside storage. And we also certified with NVIDIA's BasePod and SuperPod so that we become the storage of choice when you're working with an integrated infrastructure like NVIDIA. And the second thing that we said is we want to use AI and Gen AI to help to simplify some of the workloads in NetApp itself. And one of the most important things that we released in the past 6 to 8 months is an anti-ransomware model that comes out of the box. And based on this, you get, we are the most secure storage, and not just that we are the first in the industry to have anti-ransomware out of the box. And the third thing that we worked about was, how do we bring this innovation and use this within NetApp itself? How do we make sure that we leverage this and become highly productive? You had a very interesting session before, and it spoke about all of the tools for productivity and how you as a developer can leverage it. And that's our third area where we did. With all these three things combined with the strategy that we have, we are marching towards having a disaggregated architecture. We are marching towards building workloads that we simplify using GenAI and AI, and we are increasing the productivity within NetApp. So it's very important that you come up with a clear strategy to get technical leadership. Let's get to the second part of it, right? Just having technical leadership is not going to really help you. You need to really understand the ecosystem. You need to be in a position where you're constantly updated. And we believe that by having partnerships with researchers, with policymakers, and with builders, you not only work shoulder to shoulder with them, but you also gain momentum. And this is exactly the momentum that we gained. I'm going to talk about 3 different use cases, and the first one is the NetApp Accelerator. This is our flagship program for innovation, and in this program, every 6 months, we work with startups, we mentor them, we collaborate with them, and we also give them resources, and we give them the vast network of connections that we have. What do we get in return? We get to understand how deep tech is used in the industry. We understand what it takes to get this technology into production. Building a product is one, building using deep tech technology is one part, but actually making productionizable and making sure that you can use it for a right business case is a second one. In our last cohort, there was a startup called Encrypt AI. Encrypt AI is a startup that actually creates guardrails for impromptu injections that they have, and also for sensitive data and for data poisoning. And we have a secure product, and this fits in very well as guardrails when we do data ingestion and when we are also having conversations with chatbots on our storage. So this is a win-win situation both for Encrypt AI and also for us. By combining these two, we provide comprehensive solutions for our customers. The second thing that we really are invested in is the connect with academia. We have a lot of universities in India, very good universities where we have a good research that's going on. And we collaborate with these academia institutes so that we publish research papers and we work with them in some of the deep tech technologies that they're doing. One such engagement was with the Indira Gandhi Technical University for Women, where we collaborated with them and published a paper on some of the anti-ransomware pattern detections and some of the new patterns that are coming in. This gave us the momentum. And the momentum that we had was to validate some of the patterns that we were trying to put into our anti-ransomware models. It gave us a good sounding board. It helped us to test it out with the academia, and that's the acceleration that we got from this engagement. And the third thing is working with conclaves. One of the most important things is you saw there were so many, along with the deep tech, there are its own challenges that you get. You need to know what are the policies. You need to know what are the changes that are happening. And the best way to do it is to get connected with a conclave like NASSCOM, where you can actually come in and proactively shape not just what you are doing, but also what the policy is for the nation itself. So for us, if you really look at this, having partnerships, making sure that you are a part of the ecosystem is very critical to achieve technical leadership. The third one is, going back again to what we spoke about, is like making sure that you have a strategy, making sure that you are innovating by constantly partnering, and the third thing is building the right team. What is the right team? There's a lot of fear that people will lose their jobs, GenAI is going to replace, it's going to generate code. I think if you take anything from this conversation, I would want you to understand that these tools are to make you much more efficient, much more smarter. These are not to replace you. What it implies is, as a leader, you just need not have to have a strategy in this, but you should also enable your team. Enabling happens in two different ways. One is you give them the power to go and experiment with these tools with certain guardrails. And two, you also ensure that you are getting the right team to work with. I think all of us as developers, the one that we enjoy the most is the artifact that we create, our code. Going forward, is code the artifact that we own? Or is it the communication that we do with these models that is going to be an artifact? How well are you going to communicate with these models? How do you ensure that you give the technical requirements as an outcome-based one so that you can actually generate code? You can also test your outcomes. You can also make sure that you have got all the technical requirements. We need good communicators. Now, how do you get good communicators? Is a skill that we need to build. There's a skill that we need to learn. We need to make a team that has got diverse skills. And this is where upskilling your team, enlarging your team with people whom can interact. Product managers may have to get some new skills. Developers may have to get some new skills. And then this is how you can grow and adapt to the new tools. I'm going to talk about a use case. What we did in NetApp was that we wanted to ensure that we use the GenAI tools internally to increase our productivity. I think just getting a tool and working is not going to really help. It has to have a structured way of doing things because there are a lot of security constraints. There are compliances. You don't want to ship a generated code that goes to your customer premise. So the first thing we did is we had a governance body, a body that could tell what tools we can use. And how do we integrate these tools with our IDEs and with our source control? And then we put some guardrails on what are do's and don'ts. That's step one. Step two, we went ahead and had roadshows. We made sure that there are technical programs, we had demos, we had ways in which we had a group of people, experts, working on these tools, understanding what's the best way we can leverage within an organization. And we then went ahead and made these experts as enablers for the teams. And the third thing that we did is we started measuring with some KPI. You need to ensure what does adoption mean to you. Is it just using a tool? Does it mean how much automation you're going to get? Does it mean that how much code you generate? Do you want to see the churn? How do you measure? These things are very important if you want to really use GenAI in the right way. So we put these three things into structure, and in the past 4 to 5 months, we have been seeing a lot of changes in what we do. I'll give you some examples that come from my own team. We have like a huge dump of data that comes out. ASAP data comes when anything goes wrong. Prior to this, it takes a good amount of time to scan through this. Today, we are able to give our data to a model, and we get an excellent summary of where the issue is. It takes what used to take more than 1 day of work, now happens within a few minutes. Second thing, we have multiple branches that we merge. And we normally do cherry picking when we are doing from one release branch to the main branch, and we are doing all this. So when we do cherry picking, there are dependencies, and sometimes we miss dependencies in the code. Today, we are able to solve that really well within a few minutes. These are real-life examples I'm talking about. And we can take a product requirement document and very quickly generate all the epics, the stories, and also a timeline for what we want to do for delivery. So much to so, people are experimenting if they can take their notes in a meeting and then actually rank different interview candidates based upon what their answers were. So I think the possibilities are immense. But remember, just because we're using a tooling, the accountability is still yours. So there is no way the accountability changes from you to a machine. You need to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So what does it take to lead in today's technology? Let's go back to Alan Turing. 3 things that helped him solve: strategy, innovation, and team. I think the same thing happens when you are working with technology. Today, I see there's a fear of ignorance, that we are not knowing certain things, how to do. Best way, connect yourself with the industry and work with startups, because India has got a very thriving startup culture, and we should be really leveraging it to connect with them. The fear of missing out. If you have to eliminate the fear of missing out, you need to really work with a good strategy. You cannot just keep dabbling and then come up with some solution. And the fear of being obsolete. This is normally with developers, they feel like, okay, my job is going to go. Just embrace these tools. these tools are going to make you a much more productive and an effective person. These three things together is what will take you being a technical leader. And I would say that if you are there in any one of these areas, please invest time and energy in the other areas. I assume that today we have a diverse audience of leaders, middle managers, and developers. Every one of you have a task. Every one of you have a role to play in making sure that your organization gets to be a leader. And you need to have three things: curiosity, you need to have conviction, and commitment. If you have all these three, you are definitely going to be a leader in this space. Thank you.